Today on Mysterious Morsels, we're talking about the truth about decaf. This is like, for me, not so much of a rant as it is funny. However, it makes me, as usual, look at etymologies, aka origins of words, and also where people get the idea to come up with stuff. So, my mom has recently been diagnosed with diverticulitis and can't eat nuts and chocolate anymore, and she's very sad about it. And spent her whole life drinking coffee, and now it has become decaf tea. So when I started asking the doctor, like, what's up with this? What's up with that? Oh, the caffeination can bother you, the carbonation can bother you, the, nuts and this and that, and small little things, corn, et cetera, it's bad. Create pockets that can hurt your esophagus. Okay, fine. So I get it. And shortly thereafter, so this like was going back maybe a year now. So I started buying decaf tea. Fine. Then, not long after, my sister was not quite right one day, which really led to like almost hospitalization. And she's, her heart's racing. She's in and out of AFib. She's not feeling good. And I'm like, what is with you? She's like, I don't know. She's like totally addicted to Coke Zero and drank soda her whole life. So I don't know what it was, but the suffice to say that the long and the short of it was that once the carbonation went away, and then a lot of the caffeinated products went away, she just felt better. So it's like, hey, you know what? Drink water, and I get it. You miss some flavors, but you do what you got to do to survive. Okay, so she's feeling a lot better. Everybody's doing great. Okay, knock wood. Well, she's like the R&D department for my purposes because I'm just a terrible researcher. I admit it openly. And I'm just one of those people that I either know it or I don't know it. And if I have to find out, then I'm old school. I'd go to a library and sit down, and I don't know that I'd still whip out microfiche, but I'm not a Google fact checker kind of person. Like if I know it, I know it, and that's it. And do not question me, move on. And if I don't know it, I don't know it, and that's fine. But I usually don't sit and perseverate over things or start looking up stuff. Like, I'm not a WebMD person. I'm not going to go crazy because when you get into some of those rabbit holes, man, you can find some stuff that makes you nervous. But she wanted to legitimately know more about the effects of the caffeination and the carbonation and what it could do. Okay, fine. So she starts looking and she finds out that it obviously, can cause some different icky feelings in your chest. Okay, and then when she started thinking, oh, maybe one brand is better than the next, which one should I get? Which one has the least amount of caffeine? Same idea with sodium, keeping that low. Um, she realizes that there's actually caffeine and a pretty decent amount in all of the things they claim to be decaffeinated. So I didn't know this, and I thought it was hilarious. Obviously, it's a problem for people, I would imagine. But the objective is, of course, less caffeine. And she's like, no, that's not the objective. The objective is no caffeine. You're supposed to have no caffeine. So why would you have a decaf product only to find out that there's actual caffeine in it? That's silly. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of true. So then I started thinking about confusing words like flammable and inflammable because it's still flammable. You're going to be in fuego if you're inflammable or flammable. What were they thinking when they made that up? Or people say something is invaluable, which is really just another fancy way to say valuable. So, the in is supposed to equal the Latin for nut, or the opposite there within, but no. So how come inverse works, but not for inflammable, not for invaluable? Nope, you're still flammable and valuable. So it doesn't make sense. And that just made me think of the play on words because there's a lot of that as far as actual word etymology goes. But in this case, this is like a Food and Drug Administration choice where you're saying this product is decaffeinated, as in without caffeination, and caffeine, and yet it still has it. So I guess their objective was, well, just modify it and make it less. But if you're truly a person that can have none, you're doomed because there's really no way to get around it. I have not seen one thing that has zero or pure lack of caffeination and lack of caffeine. Caffeination, is that a word? Making it up now. Lack of caffeine in anything that is saying that it doesn't have it, other than, of course, water, which, water's water. But I find that funny. It's like you can have all the choices of, vegan this, or fake meat this and that. And they have all these choices and different things now where you can have like the wannabe Morning Star products, or burger this, or it's soy, it's tofu, and there's all these great substitutions out there now, and yet they can't seem to figure out how to take caffeine, which has been around forever, out of any substance. Now I get maybe like the chocolate would be tough, but in a drink, is it not an added substitute? Is it not an added thing? Or is it just so ingrown into, say, tea, because tea is grown in the ground, that you have no choice? I don't know. But I find it funny that for people who would choose decaf, which I always laugh, because having worked restaurant for a long time, um, I'm not going to lie. That's one of those things that you often get lied to in a restaurant. I'm not saying they do terrible things everywhere, but I worked at a pretty upscale restaurant for a long time. And at the end of the night, they would start in good faith. They would make lots of pots of coffee, and they'd make 2 pots of decaf. And where that decaf went, it went. Because at the end of the night, as coffee kept having to be made, was nobody in the back making decaf. So by the end of the night, if you came in at like after 7 or 8 o'clock, and you asked for decaf, that was just funny. Now, there might be decaf tea because they handed you water and a tea bag, but if it was getting poured out of the big carafes, you were not getting decaf after a certain time. We would straight up look at your face and lie to you and tell you that it was decaf, but it was absolutely not decaf. So people who thought they were drinking decaf, I would just chuckle, because I don't know, we probably caused a lot of heart attacks, and I apologize to those people, but it was my boss's policies, not mine, so don't come at me. But I just think it's funny because it to me it's I'm like toxic when it comes to caffeine. I drink so much iced tea a day and so much Coca Cola that I can't even imagine me without caffeination and without a caffeine product. But it's in everything, so I don't know. I guess I'll just like OD on it and drop at some point. I'm not sure, but people who actually can't have it, I used to chuckle about it, because I'm thinking it's in everything, and most people, they're lying to you anyway and giving you caffeine. So now it turns out that yes, in fact, the government is even saying, "Oh, sure, there's really caffeine in this non-caffeinated product." Ha ha. So there might be less. I guess have 2 cups. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but um, one of those things that nobody really thought about. So check your labels, because just since something says without or zero or doesn't have or D this or defunkified, it may very well be funkified and have the funk in it. So in this case, caffeine, and be careful. But it is pretty sad if you're really trying to live by that, and then you find out, oh, I don't feel so good. Yeah, I wonder why. So check your labels. That's the moral of this story. I'm not saying it's conspiracy theory, although I would say that it's funny that they can't seem to get that label correct or take it away, with all the possibilities that we have these days of chemicals and the different processes that we can clean things, take things, and build stuff. And I don't know, on some molecular level, I thought they'd be able to do that, but I guess not. I guess caffeine runs the world.
If you like this type of content, scare the like button into turning blue and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching.